on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Cryptozombie. Welcome back to the channel. It's Friday, it's the weekend, we made it, and also it is the last day of January, which means that we are definitely going to close out finally with a nice solid green candle. So that is definitely something to be celebrating. Bitcoin down 0.24% on the day. Bitcoin SV down almost 9%. Why am I not surprised? Now, yesterday we were essentially looking for this bull flag, right? It was a traditional bull flag. We did have the breakout, but we got rejected at around the almost 9.6K level. So you could see we did fall down, but it looks like we got supported again at the bottom of the flag. So should we just kind of extend this outwards? And was this a fake out and we're still inside of the flag, or is this spelling something bad for Bitcoin? And the only reason that I bring this up, I do want to talk about some good news and some bad news today. We have something that is going on right now with Bitcoin, and the last time that it happened, being the open interest being around 100 billion, we did have a massive 15% sell-off. Does that mean that it's going to happen again? I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to create FUD. However, we did have a Bitcoin whale just 22 hours ago move 2,000 Bitcoin worth over $18 million to the exchanges. So the question is, what is this whale planning on doing with all of this Bitcoin, right? That's sort of like the negative. We do have some positives though, I do want to go over today, which is the fact that we do have the Bitcoin halving potentially happening sooner than we thought, because the hash rate is absolutely skyrocketing. And because of this, we may actually have the halving sometime in April, not even in May. So that's something really interesting I want to go over. Also, some people are speculating that Bitcoin Cash miners might be jumping ship into Bitcoin. Okay, we're going to talk about that. We also do have Brexit happening, and it finally happened. Lamborghinis on the blockchain. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, we do this every single day, and every single Monday we give away a Ledger Nano S hardware wallet. Drop a comment below and you are eligible. Now, first of all, you'll notice Bitcoin dominance still holding nice and steady above the 66.2% level. Like I said, the question is, are we still in this bull flag? Was this just a fake out breakout? Or does this mean that the bulls are losing momentum? Well, I do want to have a look at the fact that we kind of keep putting in these parabolic trends, right? We had two touches down here, but then we had this major blast off. You can see right here, we started to put in another bounce. We had another blast off, but this previous support has now become resistance, okay? So it does look like now we are having that sort of resistance pushing us down. It's going to be a lot harder to break out of some of these levels, and let's be honest, Bitcoin's not just going to go straight up, right? That's just not how markets and assets work. Now, having a look right here yesterday, I was talking about the main reason why I think we're having this sort of resistance is because if we draw a trend line from the top of the close of the all-time high of Bitcoin, which keep in mind was around $13,800, to the high that we had on the close of last year, which was around that $10,700 level. Well, if you have a look right here, that is exactly where we wicked out and are now currently pulling back. Now, on the bright side, we are above October's candle. Yeah, we are above it, and we are also actually above April's candle of 2018, which is very, very good. However, having a look at where these two trends, where this apex is forming, well, if we actually change this to the day, you guys are not going to believe this, it is literally exactly at the halving, around May 18th, give or take. So that is pretty incredible. Now we have the fact that the halving may happen in April. That could definitely throw a wrench in the gears, right? One thing I want to point out too is this is the total market cap of altcoins excluding Bitcoin. So this is all the altcoins without Bitcoin. You can see we had this downtrend for the altcoins as well. We broke out, but now once again, we are having a little bit of difficulty. Look, we had this wick back here in March, okay? We topped out again here. We kind of came up to it here, but look, 1, 2. So we have a real difficulty breaking above this sort of $86 billion level. So does this mean that the markets need to actually have a cool off? Well, fear and greed index is 55, which means that currently we are in greedy territory. And historically speaking, guys, when we do get into greedy territory, when we get into these higher levels, you know, in the 50s, we tend to have a sell-off. Now, I do believe that we are at the beginning of a major, major bull rally. So are we going to have these massive 20 to 30% sell-offs like we've seen in the past? It's possible, But it may not be likely short term. But one thing that did happen, and I do want to give a shout out to Hasaka over here on Twitter for pointing this out. The last time that we had Bitcoin open interest on BitMEX, over 100 billion, which was right back here, we had this massive sell-off. And you can see currently we are topping out again at 100 billion. And just to show you where that happened on the charts right here, essentially, okay, if we take it from the top of essentially September 23rd to the close of September 24th, you could see that was at the close, not at the wick, but at the close of the day, that was 15.22%. It was actually all the way down to almost 20% at its max. And not only did that happen, but, we obviously continued to have a pretty big sell-off for, months after that continuing, right? Not to mention the fact that we do have this Bitcoin whale that did just move $18.5 million worth of Bitcoin over to Binance Exchange. So, usually if you see a lot of Tether going in, that means they're going to be buying Bitcoin. Usually when you see Bitcoin going in, sometimes, not all the time, it usually means they're looking to sell or maybe buy some altcoins. They could be buying some altcoins too, let's be honest. But I just wanted to point that out to you guys moving forward. And, like I said, if we were to kind of come down, we have gotten really far off of this initial sort of legacy support. So, if we were to come back down to these levels, following this support, it is possible to see a 7.4K Bitcoin and still technically be bullish and still actually be in an uptrend. So not going to lie, I don't mind chilling out for a little bit. Be a great opportunity to accumulate some more Bitcoin. But I just wanted to give you guys both sides of the story today, the good and the bad, okay? I think we've only really been talking about the bad, so let's talk about the good. So moving on to the positives, I don't want to focus on just the negatives. You can see our buddy Matty Greenspan, he was the senior analyst at eToro. He is the founder of Quantum Economics. He talks about the CME Bitcoin futures premiums and that they could indicate that institutions are actually pretty bullish on Bitcoin right now. He said, from what I've seen, volumes on the CME futures contracts tend to follow Bitcoin's volatility. He says when things are getting exciting, Wall Street traders like to join the party. And you can see right here from the chart and the premiums, they have the premiums for contracts expiring in January, March, and June. I think it's pretty obvious to see that a lot of these guys are very excited about Bitcoin and the future. Also, not to mention the fact that Alex Saunders pointed out last night, Bitcoin was referenced as a safe haven and digital gold on ABC News. So you're noticing a lot of these sort of skeptics coming around and now realizing that Bitcoin is sort of digital gold. It is gold 2.0 and it is acting as a safe haven asset. If you guys want to watch the YouTube video, you can check it out. I didn't really feel like playing it. That's really the key takeaway of the video. But I want to talk about the fact that you see right here, it says the Bitcoin halving is looking to be around May 12th. However, due to the fact that we've had astronomical, look, it's literally at an all-time high as we speak right now. The hash rate has been just skyrocketing, right? So what does this mean essentially? Well, basically, they say, and this is an article from News BTC, they talk about the rate of recent mining difficulty adjustment means that miners are essentially solving remaining blocks a lot quicker. So some analysts are now looking at the end of April to be the big day for the halving, which means it's not going to be in May, it's going to be in April, right? This is interesting. This is going to happen a lot sooner than we had anticipated. So if you guys aren't really familiar with how it works, essentially, Bitcoin mines blocks roughly every 10 minutes, okay? But obviously there's a difficulty adjustment, right? The puzzle essentially that you have to solve gets easier when there's less miners and more difficult when there's more miners. However, it doesn't update immediately. In fact, it takes about 210,000 blocks to update, right? Now, I want to show you something really quick. Now, look at recently these block times. Now, the average block time is usually around 10 minutes. Now, keep your eyes up on the corner of the, right here. You see right here where it shows it? Look at this. So this is starting at the beginning of the month. We have one at 8.5 minutes, 8.5 minutes. A little under 9 minutes. Okay, this one's over 10 minutes. But look at all these blocks. We have one at 8.1, 9.1, 8.8, this one's roughly exactly 10, 9, 9, 9.5, okay, 9. So you see what I'm saying? 8.7. We have one just recently, 9. And the most recent from yesterday was around 9.2, which means that most of these blocks are being solved faster than, the 10-minute usual typical time frame, right? So yeah, that basically means that miners are currently adding so much hash power that the difficulty adjustments are struggling to keep up. Now, If that's not enough to get you bullish, I want to talk about some other speculation as well. I don't know if you guys know this, but on January 30th, Bitcoin Cash saw a huge rate drop that led to the network being down without a block for more than 5 hours, which means that no blocks were produced for 5 hours. Can you imagine if that happened on Bitcoin, guys? It has actually happened on Bitcoin. It happened once in 2010, very, very early. And I heard that that had something to do with like upgrades or adjustments or something like that. And once in 2013, it was down for 8 hours and 6 hours. But over the course of being around for over a decade, Bitcoin has been up for 99.98% of the time. Okay, but that's a side note. Getting back to it, not only did we see the hash rate drop on the Bitcoin Cash network, but on the Bitcoin network, we saw a significant spike in its hash rate at the same time. You saw the hash rate absolutely skyrocketing, right? I mean, I don't have to show you guys what we've been doing essentially for the past couple of months. So basically, they're making this connection. Now, they're not saying that this necessarily means that Bitcoin Cash miners are jumping ship into Bitcoin, but the frequent switches they say these frequent switches from Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin show that few miners see the value in focusing their operations solely on Bitcoin. So the question is, are they? Are these Bitcoin Cash miners hopping ship into Bitcoin? I mean, it's really just speculation. You'd have to go out and ask them, right? You can't really tell just by looking at the network. Okay, Bitcoin Cash hash rate drops, Bitcoin network hash rate goes up. Are they necessarily correlated? I don't know, guys. Take it with a grain of salt, but I did just want to point that out. And also, before we move on, I just want to mention the fact that we had the Morgan Creek CEO on the Max Kaiser show, and they basically said that portfolios with even just 1% exposure to Bitcoin have more alpha, or in other words, have outperformed just about everything over the past 5 years. And you are noticing more financial advisors advising at least a small percentage of your portfolio be allocated to Bitcoin. And I could see that percentage probably starting to grow as Bitcoin does, gain in traction and gain in value over these upcoming years. Now, I do have a few stories. We do have Coinbase Custody is expanding its operations to Europe via its Ireland office. This is great. This just means more opportunities for people to get involved, right? I know it's not Satoshi's vision, but let's be honest, most people don't want to really hold their own private keys. Most people forget their password. They need to call their bank up, right? So this is definitely a good thing. But also, speaking about Europe, we do have Brexit officially happening. Now, I don't know how this is going to affect Bitcoin. It may not affect Bitcoin at all. It may have a huge effect on Bitcoin. I don't know, but it is a story to bring up today. Just kind of wanted to drop that. But one thing before we go, you do notice that Ledger did not miss out on an opportunity to point out basically, they had this billboard in London's Canary Wharf financial hub, and it says, "Let's take back control for real." And if that's not enough for today's video, guys, we do have Ferraris on the blockchain. So you can see Knight Frank's luxury investment index classic cars have been one of the best performing investments of the last decade. As we transition to a fully digital, fully tokenized economy, you may not be able to get behind the wheel, but at least you can use these beautiful machines as part of your portfolio. And that being said, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for coming back to today's super quick update. I freaking love you guys. You're the reason that I do this every single day. Be safe out there. Enjoy your weekend. And that is it for me. So, yeah. That's it, guys. Enjoy your weekend. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed, hit the bell notification, join the Telegram, you know the spiel. But honestly, just stopping by, that's enough for me. Thank you so much once again. You guys rock. My name is K-Dub. This is cryptozombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.